morning, everyone! Holly's joined us again on this fabulous Friday. Are you looking forward to the weekend? I'm doing pretty much more of the same that you've been doing for 10 weeks? Yes! Oh well, only 8 weeks to go till the schools go back. Okay, this morning we're going to do super similes. So a revision of similes, or an introduction to them if you are younger and maybe don't know what a simile is. As always, today's word of the day. Today's word is jostle. Jostle. I like the way you say that. Jostle. And it means to push, elbow, or roughly bump against someone, especially in a crowd. For example, I was jostled by the crowd as we waited to be served. That'll be what it'll be like in McDonald's for months once it opens the restaurants. And today's spelling word is definitely. There is no A in definitely. The weird noise is Holly doing a bit of dancing. So it's got I. Okay, it's just got 2 I's, but you know, just don't put an A in it anyway. Definitely. My pun of the day today, you know how I love it. I love a bit of cheese. Relevant today is, I know it's cheesy, missing the apostrophe, but I feel great. See, homophone, great. Moving on. Right, just a wee reminder, the way to spell simile. I saw it last night when I was researching. Simile, simile, simile. L-I-E is lie. So you don't say simile, you say simile. You can say simile if you want to sound really posh, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would just say simile. So it's just the word smile with a little extra eye. So that's the way I like to visually remember it, is you smile with one eye. Okay, Holly, stop making so much noise. Come here. You good up? No. Alright, so what is a simile? So your first little task to get your mind active and to stop Holly attacking me is unscramble this sentence. So, or comparing using away the things of as simile as 2 words like. I'd like you to spend a minute shuffling them around. It might be easier to write it down if you've got a pen and paper, to try and come up with a sentence to give me a definition of a simile. And if you'd like to say hello in the comments, this gives me the chance to do that too and say hello back. Alright, Alexa, play Since It's Friday and We're All Fabulous, Darling. Good luck. We're coming a wee bit different. Alexa, stop, cease, prevail. How did you get on? Bit tricky this one, isn't it? The correct answer is, a simile is a way of comparing 2 things using the words as or like. So well done if you got that right. It's a writing technique, and people also call it imagery, along with another couple of techniques, and a figure of speech. So why do we bother using similes? So we did metaphors last week. Similes and metaphors are very similar, as you know. However, one thing is a comparison saying that is that, and the other one is it's as blah blah as that, or it's like it, right? So they're used to make it more interesting and to engage the reader. Just to say, the post lady just walked past and I was hyperventilating thinking Hollywood Bark, but she's obviously more interested in learning about similes. They help bring descriptions to life and they get you to visualise an idea. So instead of saying the boy was really tall, right, you say the boy was as tall as a skyscraper, because then you go pa-ching! Wowza! Because you picture the skyscraper in your mind. Yes? Maybe my daughter as well. And so that you get that mental image. So that's where the word imagery, image, because you get a picture in your mind. So it's just to exaggerate or emphasise something to make it a wee bit more interesting and engaging for the reader if you're doing a story or an essay or whatever. So a definition, like I said, it's when you compare two things using the words as or like. Now, just because the sentence has as or like in it does not necessarily make it a simile. So I could say, I like Moams. That is not a simile, that's a fact. So that's to like is just the verb there. So it has to be two things being compared to make it a simile. So the key word there is a comparison of two things. Now these things may be related or they may not be related. So obviously you could maybe use them as a bit of humour, you know, so you could say the boy was as tall as a ant. You know, you could say something like that. So they're used in literature and in real life. I bet you know lots of similes, you just maybe don't know that they're similes. As I said, so it's to emphasise something, so you picture it, and it's slightly different from metaphors. So a metaphor is the boy is a skyscraper, or the boy is skyscraper tall. Here, a simile is the boy is like a skyscraper. So it's just a bit of tweaking with those two words, as or like. So here's a couple of few differences to show you. So the metaphor, ice cold, obviously we live in Scotland, we're used to these conditions. So the metaphor is ice cold because you're saying that it is ice, but the simile would be, it's as cold as ice. Sorry, it was in a song. Now, saying that, this morning's little fun thing to do on the Aim Higher page is to come up with song titles or lyrics that have got a simile in them. See how many we can get. Another one, so a metaphor is, he is a pig when he eats. Or the simile would be, my brother eats like a pig. So that's the difference. So metaphor, he is a pig. Simile, he eats like a pig, or his bedroom's like a pigsty, or something like that. And lastly, the metaphor would be, he has a heart of stone. If it's a simile, you would say, his heart is as hard as stone. So obviously these have the same kind of meaning, that the person's maybe not very emotional, they're quite cold and cruel, that sort of thing. Oh, sorry, there is one more. And the metaphor, he is a couch potato. The simile would be, he is like a couch potato, or he's as lazy as a couch potato, if you wanted to put a quality in there. Alright, so some similes are very common, so you've probably all heard of them. So I'm going to give you a minute and a half. So on the left, you've got as fast as slow as, so you've got the start of a simile, and then on the right, you've got a few pictures. So I'm going to give you a minute and a half to match up the simile to the picture, okay, and see what you can get. Good luck. Alexa, play Merci. Alexa, stop. How did you do? Did you come up with them all? Oh, I thought I'd done the answers. So the answers are as fast as lightning, as slow as a snail, as quiet as a, bit like myself, mouse. He would say as quiet as a tornado if it was me. Hungry like a wolf. As flat as a pancake. As good as gold. As light as a feather. That's what you'd say about me. As light as a truck. And as blind as a bat. Well done if you got them all correct. Right, so because these are used so often, they are what we call a cliche. Now, that's obviously a word originating from French, so there's a little acute above it. So you say cliche, it looks like cliche, which sounds like something that you might get to eat. But it's a cliche. So what is a cliche? A cliche is an expression which is something that's been used so often that it's lost any sense of excitement or originality since it's so often used. So you want to try and avoid these in your own writing because they're not very strong. They don't create a really strong impression because we say them all the time. So instead of that, you should come up with your own new original brand spanking unique amazeballs similes instead. So don't use anything that's overused. You know, like my worst ones are, my tears fell like a waterfall. Really? Or my heart with like a dagger stabbing it, it was so sore. Don't use anything like that. So it's just needing a bit of improvement, isn't it? So instead of saying as busy as a bee, because that's a cliche, you could say something like as busy as my mum before she has visitors. You know what I mean? Where it's the Simpsons tidy where you're just ramming everything into a cupboard and hope nobody opens it and dies from mops falling on their head. So they're fine to use in everyday conversations, but just try not to use them when you're doing your own writing or in your own stories because they're so overdone. It's so less season. So there's some more up there. So things like as cute as a button, as white as a ghost, you know, as white as snow, these sorts of things. So try to come up with something that a wee bit more interesting for your reader. When you're analysing a simile, so obviously analyse means to closely look at it, to examine it in more detail. The way to ask yourself, the way to do it is, why has the writer put those two things together? Why did they bother? What do they have in common or not that makes it, you know, more effective, really, that particular idea or an image? It's obviously to emphasise or exaggerate something, like the boy being a skyscraper in height. So you just have to think, what's the connection between these two things? So obviously if you were making a little joke, you could say Dylan was as fast as a cheetah. Phew! Or you could say Dylan was as fast as a tortoise. You know, so it's just like a wee bit of humour there, just to emphasise the slowness of Dylan. How to work out the meaning of a simile. So if you're saying that Dylan was as fast as a cheetah in the race, obviously the two things being compared there are Dylan and a cheetah. So what do they have in common? So obviously cheetahs are the fastest land mammal, so that obviously implies just how amazing at running that Dylan is and how fast he actually is. And obviously if you were saying Dylan is as fast as a tortoise, then that's the opposite. You know, the sloths in Zootropolis. You know, that would be me. So that would be a wee bit of humour to emphasise the slowness of them. Alright, your turn. So I'd like you to, I'm just going to give you again about a minute and a half. Try and come up with some original, unique, new similes for the snow was as white as. So think of objects that are crisp and white and fresh. I am as hungry as. I've not had my breakfast yet, so yeah, what would I be as hungry as? So not a wolf, try and think of something else. And obviously try and maybe not just write one word, maybe try and write a wee bit of more of a sentence. And warm and cozy like. Okay? So if you want me to read it out, pop it on the comments and then I'll have a look at your Amazeball similes. If not, then write them down. You can maybe pop a wee picture on later on onto the channel page. Alexa, play. Alexa, stop. Trying to do the robot there. It's quite hard when you're watching you. So that's what. How did you get on? Nobody's popped them on the page, so I hope you're doing something quite interesting and unique. Yes, you could say as white as Tipp-Ex on white paper. Ooh, is yours whiter than that? Is it? Hi Dylan, did you like my mention of you? Fast, slow. Right, that's the end of today's lesson. I will be popping some resources on later to get you thinking more about similes. And again, please, I'm putting loads of resources up there, but I'm not getting anybody showing me their work. So if you are doing the work and taking part, I've only had one little post so far. Thank you, Blake. So if you'd like to pop it on there and get a little mention as well. Okay, so Monday we're going to look at sound techniques. So we're going to look at alliteration and onomatopoeia. I just love the way you say that word. Onomatopoeia. It's very rhythmical. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to do a little spelling bee, and then later in the week we're going to start looking at a poem. Ooh. So at the weekend I'm going to pop up the poem and some questions and resources that I'd like you to look at before the lesson on Wednesday. Alright? So have a fab weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Go and use some amazing similes today, and I'll see you on Monday. Have a fab weekend. Bye! Alexa, play.